If you're over 60 years old, what you drink in the evening could be the difference between crystal clear vision and progressive decline. I recently saw a patient who had been taking expensive supplements for years, only to discover that a simple drink she'd been ignoring was exactly what her eyes and brain needed. What shocked me wasn't just how effective it was, but how many of my patients had no idea about this. My name is Dr. Susan Miller, and I'm an ophthalmologist and neurologist with over 25 years of clinical experience. Throughout my career, I've treated thousands of patients struggling with vision problems and cognitive decline, and I can tell you with certainty, what you consume in the evening hours has a profound impact on your eye health and mental clarity the next day. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend hitting that button and turning on the notification bell so you never miss another health tip made especially for you. If you enjoy this video, please send your video suggestions and questions in the comments. I read every single one, and it helps me create more content to help people just like you. Let me start by telling you about Senora Maria Helena, 72 years old, a retired elementary school teacher from Curitiba. Maria Helena came to my office visibly frustrated. She told me she could no longer read to her grandchildren at night, something she'd done religiously for 15 years. The words on the page would blur, her eyes felt dry and strained, and by the time she'd finished just 2 pages, she'd have a pounding headache. She'd tried everything: new reading glasses, eye drops, even cutting back on screen time. Nothing worked. What broke my heart was when she said, "Doutora, I feel like I'm losing a part of who I am. Reading was my joy." When I examined Maria Helena, her eyes were healthy structurally, no cataracts, no macular degeneration, nothing that would explain the severity of her symptoms. But when I asked about her evening routine, something clicked. She barely drank water after 6 in the evening because she didn't want to wake up at night to use the bathroom. She'd have a strong coffee at 7 to stay alert for her evening activities. By bedtime, she was dehydrated, overstimulated, and her body was in no condition to repair the cellular damage that accumulates in our eyes and brain throughout the day. This is where the evening drink comes in, and I'm talking about something surprisingly simple, yet powerfully effective. A warm infusion of chamomile tea with a teaspoon of raw honey and a small squeeze of lemon. Now, I know what you're thinking. How could something so basic make any real difference? Let me explain the science behind this, because once you understand how this works, you'll never look at your evening routine the same way again. Chamomile contains compounds called apigenin and luteolin, 2 flavonoids that have remarkable effects on both eye health and cognitive function. Apigenin specifically has been shown to reduce oxidative stress in the retinal cells, the light-sensitive tissue at the back of your eye that's responsible for clear vision. As we age, these retinal cells accumulate damage from free radicals, those unstable molecules that attack healthy cells. This oxidative damage is one of the primary reasons why vision deteriorates with age. The apigenin in chamomile acts like a protective shield, neutralizing these free radicals before they can cause harm. But here's what fascinated me even more as a neurologist. Apigenin also binds to specific receptors in the brain, the same receptors that anti-anxiety medications target, but without the side effects. This creates a calming effect that prepares your brain for deep, restorative sleep. And here's the crucial connection. During deep sleep, your brain activates its glymphatic system, essentially a cleaning mechanism that flushes out toxic proteins that accumulate during the day, including beta amyloid, which is associated with cognitive decline. Better sleep means better brain cleaning, which means sharper focus and mental clarity when you wake up. If you're still watching and finding this information helpful, comment number 1 below to show you're with me. Now let's talk about the honey. I'm not just adding this for sweetness, though that's a nice bonus. Raw honey contains powerful antioxidants, including chrysin and pinobanxin, which have specific benefits for eye health. These compounds help protect the lens of your eye from oxidative damage that leads to cataracts. Beyond that, honey has a low glycemic index, meaning it provides a steady release of glucose to your brain throughout the night. Your brain consumes about 20% of your body's total energy, even while you sleep. Giving it a slow, steady fuel source helps maintain optimal cognitive function. The lemon adds vitamin C, which is crucial for the health of blood vessels in your eyes. Your retina has one of the highest concentrations of blood vessels in your entire body, and these tiny vessels need to stay flexible and healthy to deliver oxygen and nutrients to your visual cells. Vitamin C strengthens these blood vessel walls and improves circulation. Plus, the slight acidity of lemon helps your body absorb the beneficial compounds from the chamomile more effectively. Let me tell you what happened with Maria Helena. I recommended she try this drink every evening, 30 minutes before bed, for 4 weeks. I also advised her to stay hydrated throughout the day, but taper her water intake gradually in the evening, and to stop all caffeine after 2 in the afternoon. She was skeptical. I could see it in her eyes. She'd spent hundreds of reais on supplements and treatments. How could a simple tea help? 6 weeks later, Maria Helena returned for her follow-up appointment, and I barely recognized the woman who walked through my door. She was smiling, genuinely smiling. She told me she'd been reading to her grandchildren every night for the past month without a single headache. Her eyes felt comfortable, her vision was clearer, and perhaps most surprisingly, she felt sharper mentally. She said she was finishing crossword puzzles faster, remembering names better, and feeling more present in conversations. But if that story surprised you, wait until you hear about Senor Carlos Eduardo, 68 years old, a retired civil engineer from Porto Alegre. Carlos came to me with a different but related problem. He was experiencing something called nyctalopia, or night blindness. Driving home from his weekly card game had become terrifying because he couldn't see clearly in low-light conditions. The oncoming headlights would create halos and starbursts that obscured his vision completely. He'd already stopped driving at night, which meant giving up activities he loved. Carlos was also dealing with what he called brain fog. He'd forget why he walked into a room, struggle to find the right words in conversation, and feel mentally exhausted by mid-afternoon. His family was worried. His wife had even suggested he see a neurologist to rule out early dementia. When Carlos told me he'd been drinking 3 to 4 energy drinks per day to combat his fatigue, I knew we had to address his entire routine, not just his eyes. Night blindness in people over 60 often relates to inadequate levels of specific nutrients and chronic inflammation in the eye. The retina requires an enormous amount of cellular energy to function properly, especially the rod cells that help us see in dim light. These cells are particularly vulnerable to oxidative stress and inflammation. Carlos's high consumption of sugary energy drinks was actually making things worse, creating inflammatory responses throughout his body, including in his eyes and brain. I put Carlos on the same chamomile, honey, and lemon protocol as Maria Helena, but I also had him add a small amount of ground cinnamon, about half a teaspoon. Cinnamon has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and helps regulate blood sugar levels, which was crucial for someone who'd been consuming so much sugar through energy drinks. The combination of eliminating the inflammatory energy drinks and adding this anti-inflammatory evening drink created a remarkable transformation. Within 8 weeks, Carlos reported significant improvement in his night vision. He could see street signs more clearly, the halos around lights had diminished, and he felt confident enough to start driving short distances at dusk. His brain fog lifted dramatically. He told me it felt like someone had cleaned a dirty window in his mind. Everything seemed clearer and easier to process. Now, I want to explain something crucial about timing, because when you consume this drink matters almost as much as what's in it. Your body operates on circadian rhythms, internal biological clocks that regulate everything from hormone production to cellular repair. Your eyes and brain have their own circadian systems, and these systems need the right signals at the right times to function optimally. When you drink chamomile tea in the evening, you're not just consuming beneficial compounds, you're also sending a signal to your body that it's time to shift into repair mode. The warm temperature of the drink slightly raises your core body temperature, and as your body cools down afterward, it triggers the release of melatonin, your natural sleep hormone. Melatonin isn't just for sleep, though. It's also one of the most powerful antioxidants for your eyes. Your retina actually produces its own melatonin, and adequate melatonin levels are essential for protecting your photoreceptor cells from damage. The honey provides tryptophan, an amino acid that your body converts into serotonin and then into melatonin. This creates a natural cascade that prepares your entire system for restorative sleep. During deep sleep, your eyes undergo critical repair processes. The corneal cells regenerate, inflammation decreases, and the tear film that protects your eye surface gets replenished. All of this happens more efficiently when you've prepared your body with the right nutrients at the right time. Let me share another case that really illustrates the cognitive benefits. Senora Beatriz, 75 years old, a retired accountant from Belo Horizonte. Beatriz had always prided herself on her sharp mind and attention to detail. But over the past year, she'd noticed her concentration slipping. She couldn't focus on her beloved mystery novels for more than 15 minutes without her mind wandering. She'd read the same paragraph 3 or 4 times without comprehending it. Her children had started making gentle jokes about her forgetfulness, but Beatriz wasn't laughing. She was terrified. When Beatriz came to see me, she was on the verge of tears. She told me about her mother who'd had dementia, and how she was convinced she was heading down the same path. I spent a long time talking with Beatriz about her lifestyle. She was barely sleeping 4 to 5 hours a night, kept waking up multiple times, and never felt truly rested. She'd compensate with coffee throughout the day, sometimes 5 or 6 cups, and then struggle to wind down at night. It was a vicious cycle. I explained to Beatriz that chronic sleep deprivation has devastating effects on cognitive function, especially for people over 60. During deep sleep, your brain consolidates memories, processes information from the day, and clears out cellular debris that can interfere with neural communication. Without adequate deep sleep, your brain simply cannot perform these essential maintenance tasks. The result is exactly what Beatrice was experiencing: poor concentration, memory problems, and mental fatigue. The chamomile tea protocol worked differently for Beatrice than for my other patients, but it worked remarkably well. The calming effect of the apigenin helped her anxiety, which was one of the main things keeping her awake. The steady glucose from the honey prevented the blood sugar crashes that were waking her up at 3 in the morning. Within 3 weeks, Beatrice was sleeping 6 to 7 hours a night, waking up only once, and feeling genuinely refreshed in the morning. But here's what amazed both of us. Her concentration came back, not overnight, but gradually and steadily over the course of 2 months. She finished a 500-page mystery novel and remembered all the plot details. She started doing Sudoku puzzles again. She told me she felt like herself for the first time in over a year. The relief in her voice made me emotional. I won't lie. This is why I do what I do. Now, I need to address something important. Some of my patients ask me why they can't just take supplements instead of making this drink. After all, you can buy chamomile extract, you can buy honey pills, you can buy vitamin C tablets. Here's why the drink is different and more effective. First, the bioavailability, how well your body can absorb and use these compounds, is significantly higher when they're consumed in their natural form in a warm liquid. The heat helps release the volatile oils and beneficial compounds from the chamomile. The liquid format allows for faster absorption in your digestive system. When you take a pill, it has to break down first, and depending on the quality of the supplement and your digestive health, you might only absorb a fraction of what's in that pill. Second, the ritual matters. When you take a pill, it's a mechanical action. When you prepare and slowly drink a warm, soothing beverage, you're creating a mindful transition from your active day to restful evening. This psychological shift is powerful. Your brain starts to associate this ritual with relaxation and sleep preparation. Over time, just the act of making this drink becomes a signal to your nervous system that it's time to wind down. Third, the combination of ingredients creates synergistic effects that you can't replicate with isolated supplements. The compounds in chamomile work better when they're combined with the natural sugars in honey. The vitamin C from lemon enhances the absorption of other antioxidants. Nature has already created the perfect formula, we're just taking advantage of it. Let me tell you about Senor Roberto, 63 years old, a retired truck driver from Recife. Roberto's case was particularly challenging because he'd developed what we call AMD, age-related macular degeneration, in its early stages. The macula is the central part of your retina responsible for sharp, detailed vision, the kind you need for reading, driving, and recognizing faces. When the macula degenerates, you lose that central vision, though your peripheral vision remains intact. Roberto was devastated by his diagnosis. As a former truck driver, his vision had been his livelihood and his pride. His ophthalmologist had told him there wasn't much that could be done for early-stage AMD, except to monitor it and hope it didn't progress to the advanced stage. Roberto felt hopeless, like he was just waiting for his vision to get worse. I want to be very clear here. I did not tell Roberto that chamomile tea would cure his AMD. There is no cure for AMD, and anyone who tells you otherwise is not being honest. However, research has shown that reducing oxidative stress and inflammation can slow the progression of AMD. The antioxidants in chamomile, combined with proper hydration, adequate sleep, and other lifestyle modifications, can create an environment in your body that's less conducive to disease progression. Roberto started the evening drink protocol, but I also worked with him on his entire lifestyle. We addressed his diet, increased his intake of leafy greens and omega-3 fatty acids, got him exercising regularly, and managed his stress levels. 6 months later, his AMD had not progressed. 1 year later, still no progression. His ophthalmologist was pleasantly surprised. While we can't say definitively that the tea stopped his AMD from worsening, I can tell you that Roberto believes it played a significant role, and more importantly, he felt empowered instead of helpless. Here's what you need to understand about vision and brain health as you age. They're intimately connected, and they're both heavily influenced by inflammation, oxidative stress, and sleep quality. The conventional medical approach often treats these as separate issues. You go to an eye doctor for your vision and a neurologist for your brain. But in reality, the health of your eyes reflects the health of your blood vessels, your immune system, and your overall metabolic state. The same factors that damage your eyes are damaging your brain. When you address the root causes, chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, poor sleep, dehydration, you're not just helping one organ or one symptom. You're creating systemic improvements that benefit your entire body. This is why patients like Maria Helena, Carlos, Beatrice, and Roberto experienced improvements in both their vision and their cognitive function. They weren't treating symptoms, they were addressing underlying imbalances. Now, let me give you the practical details you need to make this work for you. The optimal time to drink this is approximately 30 to 45 minutes before your intended bedtime. This gives your body time to absorb the beneficial compounds and begin the relaxation process before you actually get into bed. Use 1 chamomile tea bag or 1 tablespoon of loose chamomile flowers steeped in hot water, not boiling, as boiling water can destroy some of the delicate compounds, for about 5 to 7 minutes. Add 1 teaspoon of raw, unprocessed honey. It's important that the honey is raw because the processing of regular commercial honey destroys many of the beneficial enzymes and antioxidants. Add a squeeze of fresh lemon, about 1/4 of a lemon, and if you want to enhance the anti-inflammatory effects, add half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Stir it all together and drink it slowly, mindfully, without any screens or distractions. Here's something crucial. Consistency is everything. You won't see dramatic results after 1 cup or even 1 week. The patients I've told you about committed to this protocol for at least a month, most for 2 to 3 months, before they noticed significant improvements. Your body needs time to reduce accumulated inflammation, repair damaged cells, and establish new, healthier patterns. Think of it like physical therapy for your eyes and brain. Each day builds on the previous day's progress. I also need to address potential interactions and precautions. If you're taking blood thinners like warfarin, Talk to your doctor before adding chamomile to your routine, as it can have mild blood-thinning effects. If you're allergic to plants in the daisy family, chamomile might trigger an allergic reaction. If you have diabetes, monitor your blood sugar when you start this protocol. Though the honey amount is small and has a low glycemic index, it's always better to be cautious. And if you're on sedative medications, chamomile could enhance their effects. Let me share one final story that really drives home the importance of the evening routine. Señor Juan Paulo, 70 years old, a retired pharmacist from Salvador. Juan Paulo was actually my most skeptical patient. He came to me because his wife insisted, but he made it clear he didn't believe in natural remedies, despite having been a pharmacist for 40 years. He had diabetic retinopathy, damage to the retina caused by diabetes, and was experiencing significant vision problems. He also had neuropathy, nerve damage in his feet, which was affecting his balance and making him afraid to leave the house. João Paulo's blood sugar control was poor despite medication, and his sleep quality was terrible. I explained to him that poor sleep makes blood sugar control harder, creating a vicious cycle. The inflammation from uncontrolled diabetes was damaging his eyes and nerves. We needed to break this cycle. I convinced him to try the chamomile protocol for just 2 weeks. That's all I asked. What happened next surprised even me. Within those 2 weeks, João Paulo's blood sugar levels started stabilizing. His continuous glucose monitor showed fewer spikes and crashes, especially at night. He was sleeping better, which meant his body was more insulin sensitive during the day. The improved sleep also meant reduced inflammation throughout his body. After a month, he reported that his vision seemed slightly clearer, though we both knew diabetic retinopathy takes time to improve. But the neuropathy pain in his feet had decreased noticeably. João Paulo became one of my biggest advocates. He now tells every person he meets about his evening drink. His wife jokes that he's become more evangelical about chamomile tea than he ever was about his pharmacy medications. But here's what really matters. His quality of life improved dramatically. He's walking daily now, he's back to playing dominoes with his friends, and he's regained confidence in his ability to manage his health. The lesson from João Paulo's story is that you don't have to believe something will work for it to work. Your body doesn't care about your skepticism. If you provide it with the right conditions, adequate hydration, beneficial nutrients, proper sleep preparation, reduced inflammation, it will respond. Your cells don't need you to have faith in them. They just need you to give them what they need to function optimally. I want to address something I hear often in my practice. But Doutora, I've tried everything. Nothing works for me. My eyes are just getting worse, and there's nothing I can do about it. I understand this frustration deeply. Vision loss and cognitive decline can feel inevitable and unstoppable, especially when you've tried multiple treatments without success. But here's what I've learned after 25 years of practice. Most people haven't actually tried everything. They've tried many things, but often these approaches are fragmented, treating symptoms rather than addressing root causes. The power of this evening drink isn't that it's a miracle cure. It's not. The power is that it addresses multiple root causes simultaneously. It reduces oxidative stress. It decreases inflammation. It improves sleep quality. It provides your brain and eyes with nutrients they need for repair. It helps regulate blood sugar. It supports healthy blood vessels. All of these factors work together, creating a compounding effect that's greater than the sum of its parts. Think of it this way. If your vision problems were a fire, most treatments are like throwing small buckets of water at it. This approach is like removing the fuel that's feeding the fire while simultaneously cooling the area and preventing new sparks from igniting. You're not just treating, you're transforming the underlying conditions that allowed the problem to develop in the first place. Here's my challenge to you. Commit to this protocol for 60 days. That's just 2 months. Make this drink every evening, 30 to 45 minutes before bed. Pay attention to how you feel, not just your vision, but your sleep quality, your mental clarity, your energy levels, your mood. Keep a simple journal if it helps. Write down 1 or 2 observations each day. At the end of 60 days, evaluate honestly whether you've noticed improvements. I also recommend combining this with other healthy practices. Stay hydrated throughout the day. Aim for at least 6 to 8 glasses of water, tapering off a few hours before bed. Reduce your screen time in the evening, especially in the hour before bed, as blue light interferes with melatonin production. If you must use screens, use blue light filtering glasses or enable night mode on your devices. Get regular, gentle exercise. Even just a 20-minute walk daily can significantly improve circulation to your eyes and brain. Eat a diet rich in colorful vegetables and fruits, as these contain the antioxidants your eyes need. Dark leafy greens like spinach and kale are particularly beneficial because they contain lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 compounds that accumulate in the retina and protect it from damage. Fatty fish like salmon provide omega-3 fatty acids that reduce inflammation and support the health of cell membranes in both your eyes and brain. Manage your stress levels. Chronic stress increases cortisol, which promotes inflammation throughout your body, including in your eyes. Find stress reduction techniques that work for you, whether that's meditation, prayer, time in nature, or activities you enjoy. The evening chamomile drink can be part of your stress management routine, creating a peaceful transition from the demands of the day to restful evening time. And please, this is crucial. Maintain regular checkups with your eye doctor and primary care physician. This evening drink is a complementary approach to support your eye and brain health, but it doesn't replace professional medical care. If you have existing eye conditions like glaucoma, cataracts, or macular degeneration, you need regular monitoring. If you're experiencing sudden vision changes, eye pain, or flashes of light, seek immediate medical attention. These could be signs of serious conditions that require prompt treatment. I've shared these patient stories with you not just to illustrate what's possible, but to give you hope. Maria Helena is reading to her grandchildren again. Carlos is driving at night with confidence. Beatrice finished her mystery novel and is mentally sharp. Roberto's AMD hasn't progressed. Juan Paulo is walking daily and managing his diabetes better. These are real improvements in real lives. But here's what I want you to understand most deeply. These improvements didn't happen because of some magical property of chamomile tea. They happened because these patients took control of their health. They made a commitment to themselves. They were consistent. They combined the evening drink with other healthy lifestyle choices. They didn't give up when they didn't see immediate results. They trusted the process and gave their bodies time to heal and repair. Your eyes and brain are remarkably resilient organs. Even after years of neglect or damage, they have the capacity to improve when given the right support. The photoreceptor cells in your retina can reduce their inflammatory burden. The neurons in your brain can form new connections. The blood vessels throughout your body can become more flexible and healthy. Cellular repair mechanisms can become more efficient. But all of this requires consistency and patience. I'm not going to promise you that this evening drink will cure all your vision and cognitive problems. That would be dishonest and irresponsible. What I can tell you, based on my clinical experience and the experiences of patients like those I've shared today, is that this simple, natural approach can be a powerful tool in supporting and maintaining your eye and brain health as you age. The ingredients are inexpensive and widely available. The preparation takes just a few minutes. The taste is pleasant and soothing. There are minimal risks or side effects for most people. And the potential benefits: better vision, sharper mental focus, improved sleep quality, reduced inflammation, are significant and far-reaching. As we age, we're often told that decline is inevitable. Weaker eyes, slower minds, more aches and pains. That's just what happens when you get older, right? I reject this fatalistic view. Yes, aging brings changes, but we have far more control over how we age than most people realize. The choices we make daily, what we eat, what we drink, how we sleep, how we manage stress, these choices accumulate over time, either supporting our health or undermining it. This evening drink represents a choice to support your health. It's a small action, but small actions repeated consistently create significant results. Every evening when you prepare this drink, you're telling your body, I value you, I'm giving you what you need to repair and thrive, I'm investing in my future health and quality of life. I think about my patients who've made this choice and stayed committed to it. I see the difference not just in their test results or clinical examinations, but in their whole demeanor. They walk into my office with more confidence. They smile more readily. They talk about plans for the future instead of fears about decline. They feel empowered instead of helpless. This psychological shift is powerful and contributes to better health outcomes in ways we're only beginning to understand scientifically. So here's what I want you to do after watching this video. First, if you have chamomile tea, honey, and lemon at home, make this drink tonight. Experience it. Notice how it makes you feel. Second, commit to trying this consistently for at least a month, ideally 2 months. Put a reminder on your phone if needed. Make it part of your evening routine, as automatic as brushing your teeth. Third, pay attention to changes in your vision, your sleep, your mental clarity, your overall well-being. Fourth, combine this with other healthy choices. This isn't a standalone solution. It's part of a holistic approach to healthy aging. And finally, share what you learn. If this works for you, tell your friends, your family members, your community. So many people over 60 are struggling with vision problems and cognitive decline, feeling like there's nothing they can do. You can give them hope and practical tools to improve their lives. That's a gift worth sharing. Remember, I'm here to support you on this journey. Leave your questions and experiences in the comments below. I read every comment and often create follow-up videos based on the questions I receive. If you're experiencing specific vision or cognitive symptoms, describe them. If you try this protocol and notice improvements, share that too. Your experience could encourage someone else to take that first step toward better health. Before we end, I want to emphasize one more time. Please consult with your own healthcare providers before making significant changes to your routine, especially if you have existing medical conditions or take medications. What I've shared today is educational information based on my clinical experience and current scientific understanding. It's not a substitute for personalized medical advice from a doctor who knows your complete health history. Your eyes and brain are precious. They allow you to read, to drive, to recognize the faces of people you love, to learn new things, to maintain your independence, to enjoy life's beauty. Taking care of them isn't vanity or luxury. It's an investment in your quality of life and your ability to remain active, engaged, and independent as you age. The fact that you've watched this entire video tells me you care about your health and you're willing to take action to protect it. That's the first and most important step. Now take the second step. Prepare that evening drink tonight. Then take the third step tomorrow night and the night after that. Small, consistent actions create remarkable transformations over time. I hope you found this information valuable and practical. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with anyone who might benefit from this information. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos where I'll share more evidence-based strategies for maintaining your health, vitality, and independence as you age. Thank you for trusting me with your time and attention today. I wish you clear vision, sharp thinking, and many healthy years ahead. Take care of yourself. You're worth it.